start with the salute to the flag. I sent copies to the minutes that were done by Milt and extensive. Does anybody have any additions or omissions? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to,
I'll make a motion to accept as printed.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right.
Do we need
and
somebody else here?
We have three.
Is that enough?
That's enough.
Just barely, but it's enough.
All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring up the first order of business. I sent a group notice out to the members and Bill, and I got a reply, a formal reply by Alex that he was resigning from the board immediately. I don't know if he's turned in his resignation to the Board of Selectmen or not. I'll try and find that out tomorrow, or the reasons behind it, and share with you the reasons. So, once I find that out, I'll petition the board that they should seek, some applicants.
Yeah.
I don't know if they want to wait or wait for the appointing in, the next fiscal year, but we'll find that out. Okay.
It's hardly like we're going on the payroll.
It's not like, we're not going to make a big dent.
No.
Okay. Fall update, I guess it's up to Bill, and,
All right, how about some numbers first, because it's
okay, so
budget season.
why don't you read them slow, because Bill's going to record them.
Okay. So this is as of October 1st. I got this from.
October 1?
October 1. The state boat ramp had taken in $19,032. The slip and dock fees, $149,792. Private mooring permits, $68.75. Rental mooring fees were right at $3,000.
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
And the wharf fees, the commercial guys, $19,110. I can tell you that has all been paid up at this point. The actual number is right around 28 as well. Those bills go out later in the season for the fishermen, for whatever reason. So that's pretty much up to par. As you look at all the numbers and compare them to last year, they're all pretty much right on par. The boat ramp cash has exceeded 2024, although we don't expect all that much to be coming in for the rest of the season. Things are quieting down quite a bit. So that's pretty much it as far as money goes. We're pretty much right where we have been in the previous year. I have submitted the proposed budget for FY '27, and I reviewed that with town administrator on Monday. He came back with his version of that same budget, and I'll leave it at that. There's more to be discussed as far as that goes. As far as what's going on with us in the fall, we're kind of in that transition period now. Even up until Saturday, I mean, the boat ramp was full Saturday. The overflow parking lot was at least half full. This is like end of October. It was just a beautiful day, and
Yeah.
there was still some sea bass available, I guess, and that's kind of what that was all about. Sea bass now is closed, I guess, to the best of my knowledge, and so things are getting much quieter. As far as Rick and I are concerned, he's got a lot of shellfish activities going on. The two of us are working on the administrative side of things. The biggest thing that we're working on, of course, is the transition over to Link's Log, to the online permitting process. That's going to take quite a while. And we did I'm going to say we have concluded, what should I call it? We chased down those who hadn't paid yet. And that consisted of mailing 352 envelopes out to those who had not paid. What we found was some of those people had just not paid, some of them had passed on, unfortunately. So we were updated as, you know, you'd send a letter to someone and you'd get a response back from a family member saying this individual is either doesn't have a boat anymore, is no longer with us, or in some cases has moved out of the state. So I think we garnered somewhere around $6,200 in this process, this whole mailing, if you will. But it gave us a little bit of clarity as to actually who is in the river and who the participants are, who the boating public is at this point.
This was mostly for private moorings?
Oh, it was a little bit of both, John. It was, you know, it was slip fees, it was private moorings, it was anybody who hadn't paid.
Okay.
Right, so we had this, we still have this giant Excel spreadsheet. And we had the 352 that hadn't been paid. So when the monies come in, they get scored
Okay.
with red ink. So whoever hadn't paid got a letter. And so that's what kind of gave us a little reality check as to what those 352 people consisted of. So I would say at this point, and we just had a couple more checks come in the other day. I mean, it's almost Thanksgiving. This is crazy. So I imagine that a couple more may trickle in. The letter did say that if you did not respond by October 15th, it would go out to collection. We're not going to do that. I can say that, I think, very publicly. We don't have the time and the resources to be chasing people down, but we did give them a chance to get square with the town. So that's what we learned from that, and I think we have a really good handle on who the boating public in Westport is now.
How is Lynx Law going to handle that, a deceased person? It's just if you don't get the response in that
So
time period, you,
So what happens, Ed, is that, well, we just don't know year to year who sold their boat, who
Right.
moved out of state,
right,
who passed
so you don't get a
on.
response.
We don't get a
you
response,
just-
we assume that they're just not part of the boating public anymore.
You're not going to send a letter to them
No,
that possibly somebody in their family could open up and.
no, but when, we will have to send out an initial mailing notifying everyone that we are moving to this online
Yeah.
process and this is how to do it.
Right,
There's no way to avoid another mailing. And by the way, mailings are expensive.
yeah, time is.
74 cents here at Town Hall.
Yeah.
Times 1,400.
I mean, we're nonprofit, so I don't know why we can't get a nonprofit.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Can't get the nonprofit?
I don't
rate?
think so, yeah.
I don't know, I know they charged my budget 74 cents a pop, so.
Wow.
So we've got to do that again to get everybody to move over there. So, and on top of that, I know you've got the fee increases on your agenda, John. We've included, you all have approved, and the select board approved, a $100 late fee. So if you don't, we're going to send these letters out in early January, right after the holidays. If you don't respond by May 1st with your payment for your permit and whatever else you may owe the town, then the $100 late fee is going to kick in.
Right,
That's going to get some people's attention, which is the whole idea of
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, yeah, I mean, the purpose was just to pay the fee, period, you know?
Well, you know, I mean, we've done a lot to try to figure out, and Rick has done an awful lot of legwork to try to figure out who's paying what in all the other towns. I would have to say, I mean, Marion, as I've told you guys before, Marion is almost in its own little world over there. The fees are on the upper end. But our friends over in Dartmouth, if you don't pay all your mooring fees by May 1st, you lose your mooring. And there's a long, long wait list for moorings over there. So there's a lot of incentive to get it done. We cannot be processing fees for waterway permits in October. This is just crazy. We've got bigger fish to fry at this time of the year.
Well, this should certainly do away with that, the Lynx Law.
Well, yes, it will, Ed, because, so the letter that you get is going to have a little QR code on it. It's going to direct you to the website.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you, by the way, your information is already loaded in there, so you'll have to correct it, pay the fee by May 1st, And then we will have to mail out that sticker to
May
you.
1st is the,
May 1st is the deadline to pay. Now, there have been some questions about, well, what happens if I'm in the hospital and I couldn't get my boat in the water in time, and all of a sudden it's June 1st? Do I still have to pay the $100? Of course not. Of course not. I think we're pretty reasonable guys. We're not going to come down like a ton of bricks. The whole idea is to provide some incentive for people to get paid up sooner so that we can carry on the duties that we have other than administrative.
When is that going live?
It's actually live now. However, we haven't sent out the original mailing. We've been round and round as to when the right time to do that is. I think after the holidays. You've got the Boston Boat Show and the Providence Boat Show in January, maybe early February. I think that's the time to get it out there. And maybe a little subtle reminder after that. One of the things that it will provide to us, when you update your information, you'll be asked to provide an email address. We don't have that right now. We've got 1,400 phone numbers. We don't have any.
You were asking for that on your
Yeah, but
dock and mooring permits.
That's correct. But not many people fill it out. And for us to look at some handwritten emails
Yeah,
and try to plug those in, a little difficult. But this will wrap the whole thing up, and it will give us a chance to communicate with everyone as a group. In other words, things like hazards in the harbor, activities going on in the harbor, what we are doing with harbor advisory and shellfish, all that stuff can be broadcast through a group email. So I think Links Log brings an awful lot to the table for us. First of all, it's going to save us about, what did we say that we spent for the cost of processing these paper applications? Well, I think we're up to $6,000. When we,
Factor in labor,
yeah.
it's time
Yeah.
and labor.
And
Yeah.
then, you got the direct and indirect costs and all of that,
So Links Log will cost us about $4,500 to $4,800 a year. But what it saves us in postage and administrative and labor will far exceed that.
so Bill, I have one question back with the delinquent, the money you recovered from the letters you sent out. I noticed in the minutes from the last meeting, you had estimated there was $43,000 in outstanding fees, and you said you collected 6,200 roughly.
That's correct.
There's a big difference there.
Yeah, no, that's a huge difference, and that is the reality check we had, Milt, because all of these names and boat names, all of these fees that theoretically we should collect, assuming that all of those people were still active boaters. That's what the number was.
So you think there's quite a few people who are no longer active? voters?
No question about it.
Okay.
No question about it.
Carl.
Carl. You passed that along, Carl.
Fashionably late.
Everyone wants to call when they get out of work, so it's like,
You have a note?
anyway. Trying to rush up here to see Rick, too, is my favorite guy in the world.
What else? Oh, okay, maintenance and repairs. Where are we with that? There's a lot of work to be done on the west dock. A lot of planks that have to be swapped out. That work has been done piecemeal for a number of years. I know that because I did some of it the winter before last. We've got 7 or 8 planks right now in stock. We just need another, I believe they come in groups of 24, but this is custom sawn lumber, so you can't just go into Home Depot and grab this stuff. So Wayne Manchester said that he would look into that for us. So that needs to happen. As far as the boats go, M1, we just put to the test, is in very good condition. We hauled out M2. It's behind the big building at the Highway Department. The guys over there cleared a space out for us, so we'd have a place to put the boats on the trailers, and I want to publicly thank them for that. They've been terrific working with them. We've got Gary Sherman's old aluminum skiff, which we now refer to as S1, which Rick uses in his shellfish constable duties. It's got a lot of pitting. There's a lot of electrolysis on that. We did take it over to Pine Hill. They did some welding. They just did the magic that they do over there as best they could. And I think after, it was almost $1,400 in cost, I think we've given it an extension on its life. But I have to say, I have not seen electrolysis like that ever. But it's reasonably sound right now. And the guys out on the river know it. It's got shellfish and the town seal right on it, so they know what that boat is all about. The relay boat, it's going in for its 100-hour check on Thursday. And we've got M3, the smaller Carolina skiff that we seem to use for everything. So I think we're in pretty good shape to get into next spring, with one exception. And that is our illustrious pump-out boat. I have to tell you, I've been on a lot of boats, ships, floating craft of all kind. I have never felt so uneasy as I have floating on that craft right now. So it really does need to be, it really needs to be retired. And so while we're on the subject of pump-out boats, there are two options for replacement. We have an Alcar that has been part of the fleet for a while. We're going to have to rehab that by next spring in order to have an operational pump-out boat. As far as a new pump-out vessel, you want to take a guess what they go for now? There's an outfit in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, LA Management, I believe they're called. Tisbury just got a new one. It was $119,000.
It's about 125 grand.
Yep.
It's
Is that, what, include the pump and all that stuff?
Yep, that's
ready to go.
ready to go. So we will have to use CVA money, the Clean Vessel Act money, to help us to purchase that. Unfortunately, that only gives us $57,000. The rest has to come from the town, and it certainly cannot come from my budget because there's no money there for that. Rate fees or no rate fees, there's just not enough to make up the difference. It's going to have to be on a town meeting warrant to try to fund the rest of it.
The 57 is the most you'll get from CVA?
Yep.
So you know that number already then?
Yep. No, I had a conversation with Cecil French yesterday. Cecil is the guy who runs CVA up in Gloucester. Very engaging guy and clearly a man who knows his business. And he laid it out, and he is actually putting in the grant for us. As of yesterday, he said, I will write it up. The problem with that is, as we all know, the dysfunction in DC right now is causing delays in those grant monies to be put out there. So what happens here is money comes from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, so everyone who buys a recreational fishing permit, a small amount of that money goes into this kitty. This kitty sends money out to the individual states in the form of grants for Clean Vessel Act. So he has been looking for, I believe they call it a notice of funding, like, okay, your money's coming, so you can proceed accordingly. He hasn't got that yet, and I don't know when that's going to happen. The bottom line to this, guys, is that if that's the way we can ultimately go, if the town will approve that additional funding, we wouldn't have this boat for a year from now. We wouldn't have it next season at all. So we're pretty much stuck with either putting the current boat back in the water, which I will not do that,
Not good, yeah, yeah.
or rehabbing the Alcar, which seems to be very sound as far as its hull and deck goes. That's not a cheap process either. The pump itself, this is something that Edson produces. The pump itself, 12-volt electric motor, Edson 120 pump, the whole pedestal, everything. is $5,700. So that's a big chunk right there. We can save a lot of money with the outboard because the outboard that's currently on the Angler that we have is still relatively new. So we could take a 90 horse off of that, put it on the Alcar, rehab the Alcar. It needs all wiring, and the tanks will have to be cleaned out, which will be a fun job, I'm sure. So there's an option, is what I'm trying to say. There's an option.
Will CVA pay for a pump or just a whole boat?
So CVA provides us, the town has a contract with the Clean Vessel Act to the tune of $15,000. So we have $15,000 of recoverable monies. We've used about half of that so far. So my plan is to use the rest on the Alcar as best we can and get it done as soon as we can. We just have to limp through one more series of pump outs and hope that we get there. So I guess what I'm saying here is there is an alternative to waiting for a brand-new boat, and that is to rehab this guy. And I think we can work the funding out ourselves between CVA and what we may or may not have left.
So you're saying we may not need to get a new boat?
Well, I think eventually you need to anyway, Milt. The Alcar, I don't know what year it was built.
2009, wasn't it?
Yeah, might have been some, yeah, so Alcar produced a whole bunch of these when the CVA came into being. And they were everywhere, and they're still everywhere. But short, and on top of that, one of the things that Rick and I were talking about the other day is we have the privateer, which has got some years on it as well. So this Alcar was used as a dual-purpose vessel. So it was a pump-out boat, it was also a patrol boat. Still got the blue lights on it, the whole bit. And actually, Josh Moser was telling me that, you know, when I was working for, I guess it was Richie, he said that was our patrol boat.
Yeah.
So I think once it's rehabbed, and the thing about it though is, you know, it's got the equipment, it's got the pump equipment, but it's got a big cover that sits over the top of it. So once that cover's closed, you wouldn't know it was a pump-out boat unless you investigated a little bit further. So I think it would serve as a good dual-purpose vessel, and I think that's where we want to go with it, short. But I do believe we need to pursue a new pump-out boat. But that's going to take time.
So that has a pump on it right now?
Does the
Alcar?
Alcar have a
Yeah.
pump? Yeah, it does. It's got it's driven by a little Briggs & Stratton engine, which actually does turn over. Could we, you know, just salvage, could we put parts together and come up with another one? Probably. But one of the things I think we need when it comes to the world of pump out is dependability. You know, you'll get all kinds of attention from these folks if you don't get to take care of their holding tank situation. And that boat's got to be dependable. So I think for the sake of $5,700, let's just go new with that.
So
And that's electric too, right? Now, that's electric motor in there as
The
well?
$5,700 is electric.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about gas.
Is that installed?
Is it what?
Is that installed? Or you got to?
No, that's just
Just a,
drive over
Equipment
to the
itself.
Bedford Industrial Park, and that's what it's gonna cost you to put it in your pickup truck.
Now, is there any funds available in the enterprise? I mean, we used to put some money away and, you know, they're still getting we're getting half of the excise tax going in there, but, and there's other things, but I don't know if we'd be able to get any funds from there.
Well,
I know we bought the engine last year, so I don't know what was what.
well, you had the 3 new outboards that was an article at town meeting, it was $27,000. I actually recall
No.
that vote. Is there more? Probably. But I'm not quite there yet with the whole budget process. I've just Monday laid
Okay.
that on the table for them to discuss, and they shot back something to me that was a little different, shall we say. So as far as what other sources, I can't answer that yet, John.
Okay.
But I think it's safe to say we're trying to get anything everywhere.
Yeah.
And we're not shy about asking. I went to the Capital Improvement Committee, asked for $100,000 to rehab the shack. I asked for $600,000 for a patrol/fireboat, along with the fire department. So we're not shy about asking and looking to see what we can get out of all this. Admittedly, I am a novice when it comes to the world of municipal finance and management, but I'm starting to figure it out.
So that $100,000 was in the budget you submitted to the town administrator?
100 for the pump-out boat?
You said there was 100,000 to improve the shack, rehab the shack.
No, that's through capital improvement, so that's not part of the
That's-
proposed budget.
That's part of it, okay?
But I don't know where that's going to go. Everybody gets to ask for more from what I guess is free cash. And school department and highway department haven't weighed in yet either, so that'll be on the 29th. So I believe the monies available will be somewhere around $2.8, $2.9 million. So however the powers that be decide to split that up, that's up to them. But I think it's safe to say that if you haven't seen the Harbor Master Shack lately, you ought to go take a look at it.
In tough shape. Bill, question before I forget. You talked about the shellfish boat, Gary Shearer's old boat, having electrolysis issues. Have you investigated where you docked that boat? I know we've had issues in the past with electricity or discharge from other boats affecting, running gear on the boat next to it as well. So there might be something hanging there that's,
Well,
I mean, you shouldn't get that surprisingly amount of electrolysis.
No, you should not. That's one of the reasons that I had M1 hauled out right after the 4th of July, because I didn't know the condition of it. I didn't know if there was stray electricity at the dock there or not. Probably there is.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to conclude that there is
Yeah.
once you look at the aluminum boat.
Right.
Fortunately, M1 was in terrific shape.
Good.
And Josh did a great job putting a coat of bottom paint on it.
Nice.
Very happy with that vessel right now. I mean, it's got a lot of life left to it, and that's kind of our go-to vessel right now. I mean, why wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
But we need to upgrade this fleet somewhat.
Just to follow up, Carl, on your point, where we dock our boats, there's no shore power. There's no power at all on those docks. So, could it be coming, could the electrolysis be coming, of course, anywhere else? Maybe, but there's no direct power, so.
Okay, so there's no electricity that runs, so at least you could strike that one out anyway. It's,
Yeah.
kind of an obvious thing. It'll chew that aluminum up in one season, if it's worst case scenario.
I mean, we don't know where historically it has been prior to
Yeah.
last year, but
Yeah.
we know where it is now, so.
And you're using the right kind of bottom paint on that as well too, right? Was there a barrier coat put on the bottom?
There's no bottom paint on that vessel. The only vessel
there's
that's
none.
got bottom paint on is M1.
Okay, all right.
The other ones all need
getting
it.
it.
We're getting
Yeah.
there.
Well, the copper bottom paints on aluminum boats, unless you put a tie coat on there, will in one season etch into the aluminum because it's copper and aluminum as well too, so, but you
I've
haven't
had
put it.
conversations with Josh about, you can get it over here this winter. We can do it this winter. We can get it inside.
Yeah.
That's definitely on our radar, Carl. That's.
Yeah,
that's-
I would look at the wiring on the boat itself for that. It doesn't take much for
No.
leakage before you start to,
Well, if you look where the electrolysis is at, it's right, maybe 2 inches above the deck itself. It's almost like, there was no pump in it. It was all manually, rainwater was manually pumped out. I get the sense that maybe just that water level being an inch or two above the deck for an extended period of time might have made that connection. I'm just speculating, but that's where it is. It's just that 2 inches right off, and it's really deeply pitted.
Yeah.
It seemed to be in line with the water line
Yeah.
of the boat.
But, like I say, it's still got life in it, and Rick it's out there. It's underway a lot. It's got a brand new outboard on it, right? So it's, it's going to get a share of use.
Good.
All right, you
Fuel
want
pump and rubber boots, and we're good to go.
to move on to the fees on how things went with the hearing?
Well, I thought they went pretty well. It was the least attended select board meeting I ever saw. There were two people sitting behind Rick was, we were right here. So we had Andrew Manchester, who wanted to come and kind of show support. The other guy was his dad. That's the only folks that were here. So, I mean, the select board had some great questions, about why do you need it? And we gave him the same comparison that I gave all of you at the first meeting that I had in front of you all. And I think they got it. They realized that we are way below the curve. And you know what? We still are. We still are. What we have asked for, what you all approved, was essentially splitting the difference between where we were and where everybody else is. And I think the thinking, at least in my mind, was that if we had asked for parity, if you will, with the other towns, there would have been some serious pushback. That's a really big jump. So I think the numbers that you all approved at that previous Harbor Advisory meeting were pretty much what we needed to get going. But could we use more? Yeah.
Was it select board approved those?
Yes, they did.
So unanimous on all the issues?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
So one number that I should probably throw at you, we've been trying to calculate what additional monies that brings in to this department based on those fee increases. And I took the list of all those who had paid already in 2025, a little less than 1,100, and applied all of those fee increases to them based on their zip code, because you got resident and non-resident, how many private moorings we have, how many commercial moorings we have. And they came up with $94,870, I think was the number.
The difference?
That's how much we would gain, but we don't get it all.
Yeah.
That's the rub. It may go, it goes into the municipal waterways fund, and then it's transferred into the Marine Enterprise Fund at town meeting. You don't get all that. And I find that disappointing, but that's the reality. So my proposed budget reflected that $94,000 number. I plugged in numbers where we need it the most. We need more labor, we need more part-time help. We have to protect ourselves from things like outboard breakdowns, which unfortunately now cost $160 an hour to service, plus parts, because they're all Yamahas, they all have to go to Drew now, and that's what he charges for labor. So if we don't take that into account, then we're just asking for trouble. So I tried to use like some worst-case scenarios, and then apply some of the things that we are trying to accomplish at the point. And so that's all in process right now, so.
There's no warranties on the motors because they're commercially used, is that correct?
No, they all have warranties.
They do have warranties? Okay. So covered there a little bit anyway for,
30 days.
Yeah, it's.
usually a three to 5 years, right? I mean, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, one of the problems we have is that there's no fresh water to flush these outboards out. And I think we can all agree that the worst thing you can do in an outboard is not flush it when you're done using it. They're just going to build up salt on the inside, and that's going to lead to early failure.
The outboard manufacturers seem to be pushing that more and more these days. I don't know what that means, but more people are doing it at the marina. People haven't done it in a long time. Now that people are doing it, of course, people are forgetting they have their outboard running and they get in their car and drive home as well, which is not a good thing. But it seems that the outboard dealers are asking people to do it. But 5 minutes is enough, really. I mean, some of these people are doing it for 45 minutes. Like, crazy, you know?
Yeah, it's
Well, it's great if you got running fresh water. We
Yeah.
just don't have that
5
much.
gallons to read, probably.
That's all you need, really, yeah.
All right, we're gonna go down
Anyway.
to, you've said the links log, maybe the next meeting we'll have some more info as,
So we've,
or implementation after the holidays.
after the first of the year,
So
those
we can
letters
just
will be
skip
going
that,
out.
okay.
We know how to do mail merge now, so that's
All right, so it's on the book.
it's the best way we can communicate with everybody.
So the next item is feasibility study on the town dock. Do we?
That has all been approved. I spoke to Anders, who is the principal at GZA, I guess it is. The money's all approved, and I expect that to start any time now. But I have not heard from him in a couple of weeks, so, but there's no reason it can't get going.
So we'll cross off the pump out boat. Was that Hicks Bridge, and the only fees that we didn't look at was the parking fee for the Hicks Bridge. So you can just look at, I thought that the funds come into the enterprise department, but I'm not sure.
I don't think it does, John.
I don't know why it doesn't. I mean, but
You'd probably have to speak to somebody from the Landing Commission to get that answer.
No, that always goes to the selectmen. Selectmen, the landing commission's land is a very small piece of land, basically halfway through the ramp, halfway through the access road, and that's all that's left of the landing on that side. The rest of it is all selectmen, and they're the ones who have jurisdiction over that. So, I mean, all the years I was on the landing commission, we never saw any, you know, it wasn't our thing to get money from that part of it anyway. So,
Even the permits come out of the selectman's office.
yeah, I mean,
yeah, so I just,
Entirely different than a
I
rent.
know that Chris at some point said he was trying to get that.
yeah.
Funds to go into it, I thought he did, but, you know, if you say it's not going in there, it's going to the selectmen,
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I-
the only other place you can go, so,
I mean, on the weekends, it's jammed in there, you know, if it's a nice weekend to park in, so, and, you know,
Oh,
all your residents.
before we move on, John, there will be enough money in next year's budget for us to put a kiosk in at the state boat ramp. We did get a little bit of negative, how do I put it, which is, so Fairhaven had one over at West Island, and it was very problematic. And they took it out of there, right? So they went
Yeah.
went back to the cash.
We only had one. They took that out.
So there's a number of manufacturers of these, and the prices are all, for the hardware itself, are all over the place. And on top of that, there's a lot of extras and bells and whistles that go with it. Do you want a service contract? Do you want armor plate around it? You know, all this kind of stuff. Because, you know,
Yeah, they're gonna get attacked, yeah.
yeah. And Jeff McGee had said to me when I asked him if we could actually put it at the state ramp, he said, sure, but make sure it's high enough. Because he says, I've seen 3 feet of water on
Yeah.
that ramp. So that's a consideration, obviously.
Bill, what's the purpose of the kiosk?
So if you ask Rick what he does to tend to the monies and the envelopes over there, you're gonna get an earful, because it's time consuming, it's labor intense. The money literally gets counted 3 times. He counts it, I count it, the girls at the treasury count it, sometimes more than once. What it takes us on a daily basis during the course of the summer is between 1 and 2 hours a day. And on top of that, there's all the printing that has to go with it, and so on and so forth.
It's all cash, and in this world today, cash is,
Will the kiosk allow you to use cash?
the kiosk, well, to follow up on what Bill said, I went over and spoke with Fairhaven yesterday about it, and their program they had took both, took credit cards, debit cards, and cash. That was part of their problem. You have the options to take just, you know, electronic or both, whatever you want. And of course, you pay for those different options, and they take a piece of whatever that option is. But they said that their issue was more with lack of due diligence. they liked the way the kiosks worked, but it became problematic with breakdowns with their vendor. You know, anytime you do something like this, sometimes it's a vendor issue more so than the product issue. So they tried to iron that out, and they didn't have much luck with it. But I did, to answer your question, Ed, exactly what they wanted was cash, because, an option for cash, because not everybody, I find it hard to believe, but not everybody has a debit or an ATM card today. That was their story, but it worked for them for a while, but it became labor intensive. And I'll give you an example, because the company was from Connecticut, and they didn't have a service contract, and when it needed service, they'd call the company, and they were on the clock from the time they left their building, so it could be a 10-hour service call, which was pricey. So that was one of the downfalls. But, you know, that's a lesson learned, I think. If we go this route, these are lessons learned that we'll certainly take a look at. But they were very helpful yesterday in a conversation.
So what you're trying to do is you're trying to take away the cash part of it? So it's
Yeah,
easier to...
see, Carl, the way their cash works, Fairhaven, is they have, it actually goes into a lockbox, and then you remove the lockbox, you bring it up to the treasurer's office, they count it, and you put an empty lockbox in. The way ours is, I'm taking envelopes out with cash, and sometimes there's $5 in quarters. That's always a pleasure. And every day I
Don't
go
fall in
over
the water.
there, and I empty the box by hand, and bring it back. Like Bill says, we take it back to the shack and we count it out, and we stack it up, and then we bring it up here. He counts it, Bill counts it, then it gets counted up here. It's an antique system, antiquated system, I should say.
Yeah, because
And it's not really a good system.
utilization is high.
Yeah.
And it must be impossible.
Who put that in? Was that part of the state program to put that in originally? Or was it something that town had to put in?
That I can't, I don't know
Oh,
the
no.
answer to that. I wish, but I mean, it's been
Whenever
there.
we started the fees, that was I can remember the steel box, the
Yeah.
bulletproof box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Built.
And prior to, we changed it, and we put a modified ticket system in where you put the red tag in your windshield. Because as it was before, we'd collect the money, then you'd have to look at, on a busy summer day, you'd have to look at every envelope to find out who didn't pay. And there was no way to enforce it over there, so we started the red ticket program. And now if you don't have the red tag in your windshield with your date, registration, all that stuff, Westport Police, who have been great, come down and he'll tag you, which kind of moves things along. People get the message. We just want to change that into an electronic format where you can actually pull up to the kiosk, put in a code, and get a printout of everything, every space, every vehicle, every registration number. So that's where we want to go. We want to cut down on the labor, and we want to make it more secure. You know, cash is not a good thing to be carrying around in today's world. So,
And enforceable as well, so.
Okay, thank you.
All right, links log, feasibility study, Hicksbridge, new business, mooring inspection, roof vendors, we want to,
All right, let's talk about moorings, because that is, in my view, that is our problem child. We don't know, nor have I seen, any information as to where all these private moorings exist. You can ride around the river and say, here's mooring 511, here's 621. Somebody tell me who that, I mean, we could look it up, certainly through that number, but we have no geographical reference as to whose mooring is where, or, more importantly, the condition of that mooring. So, I really, and we've gotten a number, and Rick and I were talking this over just before we got the call this afternoon. We've gotten a lot of requests from people over the course of the summer. I'd like to put a mooring here, I'd like to put a mooring there, so on and so forth. I really believe, we actually believe that we should have a moratorium on private moorings until we can figure out where the hell all these moorings are and who owns them. And I would suggest we do this for a couple of years until we can get a handle on it. Now,
will Link's log help?
Yes, I was just about to say that, John. So it's got a mapping application as part of it. So we could literally go up and down the two branches and just put little marks on this electronic chart indicating that there is a mooring there. Then, of course, you're going to have to go in and enter that information. Ultimately, what Link's Log does, they use it in Newport. There's an awful lot of moorings in Newport. The demonstration that we got initially from John Vigilante, who's the principal, showed us how Newport Harbor laid out with all its moorings on this charting app. We could simply touch on it and say, this is Eddie Carey's mooring, this is Carl Tripp's mooring, and this is the status of this mooring. And by the way, it was last inspected on a certain date. In Marion, you cannot get a mooring permit until you prove that your mooring has been inspected. I think that's where we need to go. We need to get there.
So how do you prove something like that?
Prove what, Ed?
Well, yeah, there's a section on the mooring applications that you have to fill out that says it was inspected when, by whom and when. So what will happen different on that?
Well, how many of those do you think actually get filled out?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Not that on that end.
Rick handled all those. How many do you think actually? What percentage of the private mooring applications actually filled out the bottom section?
We're lucky if we got 50%. People are signing off, but I think they're signing off so they get their sticker and their sticker only. The number of breakaways we're seeing, just without a storm. Thankfully, we haven't had a storm.
Well, the sticker goes to the boat, not to the mooring, really.
Right.
So the mooring is treated as a separate entity, really,
Well, there's a separate fee for the mooring,
Right,
and then you
right,
add
right,
into
right.
the footage of the.
What if you were to ask people, there'd have to be, it's kind of late for this year, but for next year, because they're sitting on their boat on the mooring, if they could send you their coordinates on that, they could check their GPS or have a handheld GPS and send them in. I mean, even if you got 25% of them, you'd get 25% of the locations as to where the moorings are.
Well, I think that's not, for each individual to do that, that's not a big deal, because every cell phone,
Right.
everybody has a cell phone, has a
Right, I mean, just
GPS.
as a start, anyway, I mean,
Yeah.
I've been asking every able-bodied person that I know, the perfect time right now for somebody to start a mooring inspection business in Westport. They would have they'd have a market that's just, wide open, and you could do it year-round, really, from installing to inspecting.
It's certainly a lot better than off River Road or at the end of Sylvia's Lane or,
Yeah.
123 Drift Road. There's a lot of area up there to cover.
Yeah.
There could be 10 moorings in there.
I mean, once you establish locations, then, you can actually look at a location for even for a new mooring. Okay, here's this one, and give them some coordinates to go by, instead of, I put a Clorox bottle out there a couple weeks ago, thing's gone, whatever. We've been through that many
I mean,
times.
so it's going to be chart-based, and,
Yeah.
and the Link's Log accepts some kind of chart input, or?
You could literally take a tablet, Ed, and just go up and down the two branches. Every time it came across the mooring, just put a mark on it, put a pin on it.
And will it,
Do it on your phone.
Yeah.
okay, and it'll actually, they use some kind of a charting software?
Yes.
No.
Something GIS
it'll be pretty
compatible.
Easy.
I think that's ultimately where we're
It'll
going.
take time to get to that, to
Yeah.
collect all that data, but once
Well,
once
it's
you
going to
have it-
take 2 years, according to Mr. Vigilante, to fully implement Link's Log. You're going to go through the first year, and there's going to be, what do we call them, loose cards. You're going to have to find Joe over here who just kind of fell through the cracks, and by the way, I just bought a boat, that kind of thing. To get all this settled will take 2 seasons.
It's not really going to be a whole lot different than when you go around tagging boats. I mean, you go around and see that every boat's got a tag on it, and, I mean, at that point, you can just put the data input on the location.
Well, that'll allow us to pull up alongside the boat, know who owns it before we even look at the tag.
Yeah.
So it's just that combination of information that we have to
Right.
gather and put in some logical sense. but we don't have that with moorings right now. So I think Rick and I are reaching out to you guys and saying, we need some help on this.
So what percent of the moorings do you think are properly marked with the number?
Just riding around Milt, half, maybe a little better than half.
Yeah, so that's a problem that has to be resolved.
Yeah,
too.
that's a big problem, yeah.
So you gotta make sure that people understand that if their mooring is not marked, something's gonna happen.
Well, one thing that the waterways regulations spell out very clearly is this is how you mark your mooring, and this is what the dimensions of that mooring below the surface should be. Now, that's what it says you should do, that's just the
They
reality.
need to understand if it's not marked, then there's some consequence.
Well, again, the waterways regs say we have the right to take them right out of there, so.
There are spots in this river that moorings are marked with Clorox bottles, you know, and they didn't even put the courtesy of a blue stripe on them, and that doesn't tell us anything. Well, we don't know who it belongs to unless the boat's there,
Yeah.
and we don't know what's underneath.
Well, I'm
You
worried
know,
about that. Yeah,
We don't know what the
I
running gear is.
Yeah, so it's just somehow people gotta get they're not necessarily gonna read the
It could be
waterways regulations.
three
You
cement
gotta put it
blocks.
in
You
Whatever
don't
you
even
send
know.
out to them, that if it's not marked properly, then it'll get pulled up or something, you know.
It presents a huge liability because we have to go get the boat that's run away and find it, find out who owns it, see how many boats it, you know, what damage it caused along the way, which is common when you have boats that are $500,000 at entry level, that becomes an issue. So, you know, as we all know in this room, it all compounds, it just keeps, you know, it's going
Well,
this.
you've got the visual, then you've got the underwater. So, you know, I think, you know, maybe by coming up with a Harbor Master Department sanctioned buoy, you know? Grab a Taylor number or whatever, this is the buoy we require. Not we suggest, we require. Torpedo buoy up to 24 feet and then the larger one. Put the model number right down. This is what, to start getting people to, you know, to realize that you're expecting something, you know, something like, you know, like that you want on there, not what they think they should have. And then making sure the bottom is, you know, properly secure. That's, a lot of people, they don't, you know, a lot of the newer people coming in looking for moorings, they don't have the wherewithal, they don't have the ability to put something like that in. So, you know, that you could pretty much.
Well, I'm just curious where the four of you stand on the idea of a proposed moratorium until we can get,
I think you're gonna get a
grip
lot
on
of
this.
pushback from that, from you know, people in town.
but what's happening now is that they get frustrated and they're just putting them in anyway. And that just adds to the list of the unknowns that we
I
have.
think you do it for 1 year and see what happens.
You can always extend it, I think. Yeah, I agree with that. I think the 1 year would kind of bring attention to people that you're trying to move forward to a mooring program. And if they're not, you know, if things aren't worked out or not going that direction, do it for another year. You know, so I think 2 years right away is a lot for people.
But doesn't the
know.
harbor master have to approve the location of every new mooring?
Yes.
Yes, actually, it's Ed and I who have that authority right now. We are the mooring committee.
Yeah, so,
I've never done it.
Well, you would say,
I haven't either.
Wait for your first
I mean, I
time.
did it back, 15 years ago I did it, I used to do it, but then kind of stopped and now I did it.
but until they get it approved, they don't get a number. And if they don't have a number, then there are consequences, so.
So we better start
I don't think
laying
we
the
would,
groundwork.
I mean, Chris used to do that. I know that people would come to me for mooring, I said, talk to Chris. You're gonna put a place saver down, and he'll give you a number, and as soon as you get a number, then call me and I'll go put a mooring in for you.
Yeah, that's pretty much the,
And, you know, it seemed like it was working, I don't know. They told me they talked to him, you know, maybe they didn't.
but, you know, I'm still looking at mooring inspections and certification. I mean, we look at where we ultimately need to go is to have a couple of vendors that responsible or certified to do an inspection or to certify that the mooring is to
Yeah,
the,
absolutely, right.
what we subscribe to, okay?
Yeah.
And so we have to look at other towns on how they do it.
Well,
Maybe-
there's a, I mean, you just, if you don't get that bottom section filled out on the mooring permit, it gets kicked back. I mean, it'll automatically happen now with the Lynx Lock. And there should be, whatever names that you trust to have do this work, it has to be one of those names. And if not, you'll have to, they'll have to come up with a reason why it's not one of these people.
Yeah.
So I got an email from a gentleman in Fairhaven, it's probably going back a month ago. What do I have to do to get approved as a mooring inspector in the town of Westport?
Right.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, I mean, that's, right. That's-
I
Can you
mean,
read, can you write? I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty, it's
I
not,
mean,
How's it back?
the marinas put in moorings, so, I mean, and there are other people that put in moorings.
well, I mean, first off, have you ever done it before? It does take some experience, some common sense to
Yeah.
realize you need a certain size chain, you need a certain size, how deep is the water? What do you need, and, how, are there any other boats in the area? I mean, a lot of it's common sense, you don't
My
want,
point is that these people at least should be certified
what,
to put in moorings and inspect.
what are the requirements, though? I mean, we've never done it before.
You probably need to talk to insurance companies, see what they have to say about it.
Yeah, yeah.
The regulations give parameters for mooring tackle.
Right.
And it talks about, the size of the mushroom,
All, whatever.
say, the block, the equivalent in a block of concrete, as well as the length of chain, the size of the chain.
Yeah,
That's
that's all
in
pretty
here.
straightforward.
Baseline.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But for the average person, somebody inherits, I'm just using their words, not mine. But somebody buys a house or somebody's grandparents die and they take the house over, they think the mooring comes with the house, and they have no idea because they've never been involved in this before, and you can't blame them, but they think you just throw a piece of line over with a couple of cinder blocks, and that's not really the case, because it is spelt out in these regulations that were put together
Well,
many years ago,
And
on
that,
probably great pain.
that's you guys, I mean, when you go around in your tagging mission, I mean, you should be checking every one of these moorings, and if somebody doesn't have a sticker, you know that they haven't done the paperwork for it. And so at that point, you have to, go, chase them down. And that's gonna be legwork for you guys, but that's what's gonna happen, I think.
Oh, yeah, I think it can be done, Ed, it's just gonna take some time to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And before we continue to muddy the water, forgive the pun, I really do believe we need a moratorium on this. And with a moratorium could also come a wait list, right? So my proposal to the four of you is that we institute a one-year moratorium. Along with that, we put together a wait list for those who would be the first to get a mooring at the end of that. Short of that, it would just make the whole process that much more difficult.
Is this in all areas of the waterway?
Well, so B, as you all know, is not, there are no
Is-
private moorings in Area B. So I would just say Area A and C. I mean, if Carl wants to throw in another 10, we're not gonna complain.
I mean, there are private moorings in
Well, it's-
D, but I mean,
There's a moratorium on commercial moorings in B, or there had been for years.
Yeah, that's right.
And, you could still do a private mooring there, but no commercials.
yeah.
Yeah, the private mooring moratorium was appealed a number of years ago. I should say repealed a number of years ago, with parameters on, like Shirley Street and, certain areas within the town, 150 feet here, 150, it's all spelled out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's strictly for private moorings, not for commercial.
So would this be for new applications or properties that maybe have transferred but had mooring or moorings registered to it? Or how would that work? I had a guy that this spring came in, I got these two mooring numbers here, and I said, well, would you, well, I bought a house across the Cape Mile, and the owner said, these are mine now. I said, well,
That's not the way it works.
I don't know how that works. I said, go, go see the harbor master, you want to put them in and put new moorings in for them. So there's a lot of that around, believe me,
They can't use it as a real estate transfer because the bottom of the river belongs to the Commonwealth. And they're like,
Well, when you're selling that house, a couple moorings out there, sounds better, but, no one's gonna check on that, so.
No, but it's all fine as long as they follow the right process.
Right,
you know?
right. That's, but as far as the moratorium that you're talking about goes, Bill, I mean, there were a couple of different scenarios. Is it just new applications or anyone that doesn't have it properly registered at this point?
Well, certainly new applications, Carl, and then to go back to what you just brought up, this one-year moratorium would give us a chance to address issues such as that, and maybe update the waterways regs in the process, so that we've got basically a clean slate and a clean start for all of this, so that we can enforce it properly going forward. But again, until we get a grip on this, I don't think we can go anywhere.
Yeah.
And from and after what Captain's saying, there is a provision right now in the waterway rules for an annual wait list. It already spells it out in the rules. So, we would, if we were to go down this road, we would automatically start a wait list, which would be certified by email, which would show a date and a time, so everybody will understand who's who and how that would work. That will give us a little running room, a little breathing room to kind of get our hands around this, because right now, it's pretty much the Wild West out there in many parts of the river. Other parts of the river are pretty well managed.
Yeah,
But there are certain parts of the river and those are where the breakaways are coming from. Those are where the people, they're bringing in, somebody brought in a mooring during the summertime, and the chain at the base of the mooring where it joins the shackle was it was broken, was no thicker than like a piece of linguine.
Yeah.
This poor person that had their boat on there had no clue,
Yeah,
but that's their responsibility.
like they should,
Yeah,
it's,
I mean, they signed off and
Right.
said it was fine, but that's not the reality.
Right.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
yeah.
Is there any, do you see any realm of possibility now or in the future that the town could have a mooring operation for inspection? I mean, it would be like anybody else, setting up a business, get an old,
Yeah, but then you get.
An old pontoon
the
boat?
moorings, substandard, and, is the town gonna buy a new mooring and put that in,
well, the town didn't buy the first mooring, why should they buy the second mooring?
Well, they wouldn't pay
But at least
for it. I
they'll
mean,
know
but,
what- yeah.
initially pull it up, you need two shackles, you gotta
Right.
choke a bit, or
Right.
whatever. I mean, the town can't do that. Yeah, they're not gonna be in the business
Well,
selling you shackles.
Well, somebody's gonna have to buy,
Well, that's right.
you go out there, if you find a mooring that's substandard, you don't go back and talk to the owner and say, you fix it right there, because you have it up, and that's
No,
part
that's
of,
not-
part of,
well,
part of the
I-
process,
I don't think that's true. If they ask you to go check the mooring out, you're gonna do any work on it at the time.
That's
It's just
what I'm-
gonna cost them way
No,
more money
that's
otherwise.
that's what I'm saying, if you pull up a mooring and you find that the chain is not safe, you're gonna change it right there, then put it back
Absolutely,
in,
right. Yeah.
I don't know, I just throw it out there, I mean, it's an interesting little business, I mean, that way, would you have more of a handle on things if you could do it that way? You need, you need another person, you need a small, anyway,
Well,
just throw it out there.
I don't see how this department could do it.
That's what I'm saying, part of the waterways department, is there any way you could ever fit in a mooring inspection barge?
Well, I
in
would
there?
never have the money in the budget to pay him.
Oh, yeah, well, but we'd have to go after it,
Also need specific equipment, too.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And
It's like
is
a
there
cemetery.
certification?
They have big equipment, they can do it.
And insurance, right?
Yeah, insurance.
Insurance.
I don't know if the town would want to expose themselves to that potential liability,
Yeah.
whereas a private
I
vendor,
don't think so.
Yeah, I mean,
people can
to
bargain.
certify a mooring and all of that,
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's
it's risk, whoever puts that mooring in, I hold my breath every year. I mean, you do enough from you do enough for them, you know,
Yeah.
what's going on there. So that's why, you talk about a certified mooring inspector. I mean,
Is there such a thing?
I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think.
It's a good idea. You don't want, you don't want
There are-
anyone
there
out
are-
there.
There are 4 towns along Buzzards Bay that have certified mooring. I got the data right here.
Really?
Yeah, well, they have,
I mean, they
They're-
have the inspection form, they have,
yeah, and so, I mean, they have people that they trust
They
to
have-
do
they have
it. And so
Well,
they
they're
say-
probably bonded and insured as well, too, which
Right.
makes
Oh,
them.
absolutely, yeah.
Makes them,
commercial entities
Yeah.
that you have to go to.
That's
Yeah.
how it should be.
So, but it's not the town itself.
yeah.
And that's all hooked in with the links log. It's,
So-
I see this working pretty easily, really.
I do too, Ed.
After a fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah, after a fashion,
Yeah.
which is why we
All the
need
information's
a
right.
little bit of breathing room on this. We need a pause.
Yeah, I'm on
So-
board with that but I think a year. I don't think we should go for 2 years. That's a long time.
So, John, would you
Year with a
would you hear a
win.
motion on that, John?
Well, I mean, somebody's gotta submit it. I mean, the Bill, Bill has said he thinks he needs 2 years, but we've kinda said a year.
Well, we can do a year with an extension, I mean, so
Yeah, a year
Have
with
the
a
option.
possible.
it's a big task,
So for
and
the next fiscal year or the next season, is that how we wanna
I
word
think
it?
starting on the first of the year, or should we do it a fiscal
for
year?
the 2026 mooring season or something like
Yeah.
that, is that
Something
enough?
like that.
Or
Well, if you make it a calendar year, you're taking in the whole season.
Yeah.
So I guess ultimately what Rick and I are saying is that give us a season
Yeah, okay, so
to sort this out.
basically it should be 2026.
Yeah.
There'll be a moratorium on all moorings in the river. Or new moorings.
That sounds like a motion to me, right there. I'll second that motion.
All right. All in
So,
favor?
Milt, you get
We're outta
that?
here.
this is being taped. Okay, so we gotta get it right. So,
Yeah.
why don't you try and write that up?
I'm not sure what I'm writing up.
So in
So-
the year,
So this is
year
Ed's making the motion?
2026,
And it would be
Propose a,
new private moorings.
New private moorings.
Okay.
propose a moratorium on all new private moorings.
This is in all areas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be A, B, and C. Because like you said, there
Yeah,
are,
and so
there
it
are
goes-
private moorings.
There are
and-
some
You know, it's
in
like you
lines
say, it's
included.
all the cinder blocks and stuff.
Yep.
You know, I mean, they're everywhere.
FL Trip puts it
And
in.
So as part of
it'd be
this,
really good to weed those things out.
Would there be any exceptions? I mean, should we write that in? Any exceptions would be,
I don't think you wanna write it in, but you can make it.
well, yeah.
Extended
Well, that's up to it's up to these guys to make the exception, I guess,
I mean, I think the new private moorings is pretty clear that, you know,
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
it's out of control.
as opposed to some mooring that's there, that's a whole different issue. We have to deal with that on another level.
so with this,
But the
at
new,
the end of this year, this moratorium year, where we have worked out all the details of certifying mooring inspectors and how it's dealt with in Links Log and that whole process is gonna be finished by then.
we hope.
You know.
I mean,
At
that,
least-
actually, by having a year like this, just gives us the impetus to
I'd like to
move
put that
forward
in
to
the
answer
motion.
those questions. And then if we come back and we find that the workload is way too much, then we'll ask for an extension. If we find that we've had great success, we could also ask to have it repealed. I mean, there's nothing that will keep us from moving in either direction, but it depends on the success we have.
What kind of support do you have for that? Have you,
As far as, is there gonna be a lot of pushback?
no, support for the links log.
Oh, they've been terrific.
Yeah.
It-
They've been
Okay, so-
terrific. Actually,
I mean, that's half of
I didn't
it.
even mention it to Rick. I got a voicemail from John Vigilante this afternoon. He was over in Dartmouth because Dartmouth is going to join his
Yeah.
merry band. And Rick and I were out getting thrashed off the beach at the time, so we didn't get to meet him. But he's always there. They have a support team. They've got us set up with all the information. And any email to them is always responded to very quickly. We've been through one training session with them. We need to do a couple more. But we've spent time just kind of feeling our way through it ourselves. So I would say their
What's the
support is
coverage,
terrific.
I mean, you can have, I mean, it isn't, you don't need an excuse, but the reason is that Lynx Log will be able to map all the current moorings at this point. So we don't need, we have to have a period of time to let them do that, and we need this 1 year to do that. And it kind of answers the question, if we're successful at the end of this year, then we open up the moorings again.
Yeah. Yeah, and then when somebody wants one,
You have to-
they put it, but it's the same way, they drops a sinker in with a marker on it, you guys go up or whoever, and you say, yeah, that looks okay, and then you mark it right then. And it's
Well, I would say-
one in the database.
Perhaps an easier way, Ed, might be just give us latitude and longitude and carry it out 3 decimal points. That's pretty damn accurate. And that's available
Yeah.
to
I mean,
anybody.
And you can check that
it's close enough.
We could just
on your cell.
sit in
yeah.
the shack and check
Yeah.
that against
Yeah.
the Lynx Log mapping application.
Right.
Using Lynx Log, if we go out on a river, we just take an iPad with us, and a Lynx Log software will allow us, once we get these mapped, to identify them. And then within the software, you can identify them as having been inspected and when that inspection was. So that's another whole phase.
Yeah.
But, you know, we can pull up on your mooring, and if it shows red, that's going to tell, I mean, we're going to enter that data. It's going to tell us it hasn't been inspected, or it's due for
I'm one of the
inspection.
guys that does put numbers on my moorings.
You don't, or you do?
I get like a mix of fenders and everything. It's all good down below, but not so good up top. Next year I'll get to that, though.
Okay.
But at any rate,
You can
no,
still,
I think that's gonna work well. It sounds like that's the way to go.
Right.
you'll still accept applications, you just you can't put them in until the moratorium's over.
But so,
The wait list.
yes, just a wait list.
Yeah, all right,
Wait.
good,
Okay, so they will go on a wait list, and
Yep.
then, once we get here.
yeah.
So, do you want to add anything, or do you
No, I-
have enough information?
I think I do. So it's to set a moratorium for new private moorings in 2026 to allow time to sort out the process for how moorings will be located and inspected by approved inspectors, including the use of Lynx Log in the process.
Approved or certified?
Approved, I would say, yeah. I would
Certified?
take out the certified.
I didn't say certified, but
But you said those other guys were
did I
certified.
say approved? I said approved, I
I'll
think.
show you.
I'm gonna look into that, you know,
Yeah,
if there's
Well,
if
whatever
there's
the
a
approval
program, it
process
should
is,
be,
if it's approved, there's got to be a process to do the
yeah,
approval.
yeah,
That's-
yeah.
Okay.
any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So I'll take this to the select board at the soonest opportunity, because they're going to have to weigh in on this, right?
So you just wanted to put it, I would, I know that the hour is late, so I'm sure you guys are tired. And I know that, do you want to just, we'll table it or put it, town dock and unloading and loading fees to the next meeting?
Yeah, let's just-
Meeting,
yeah, 'cause
and
that-
waterway rules rafting, we can put on, the next thing.
Okay.
So, is there any other business that we need to bring up?
I just got one question, how have you done on collections since our last meeting?
Collections.
Collections for,
Oh,
you know,
You
Oh, I think,
you already go over that? Okay,
already went over that.
okay, all right,
So,
all right.
you'll get the minutes.
I can read the minutes, yeah, I'll read the minutes, okay, all right, good.
so the quick skinny call is that we thought we had $40,000 worth of money coming into us. What a lot of those people were either they moved out of state, sold their boat, or they were deceased. So 352 envelopes yielded about $6,200 in fees so far. So it was a reality check for us.
Yeah.
But it was also,
Now you know,
it was a very necessary update
yeah.
to our database.
So the one thing I
Alright,
see in the
good.
minutes from last
Most of
time
them are
that
dead.
I don't think we've addressed, we don't have to address it today, but. I
And
don't know
nobody
what
knew?
the Status is on it. There was a suggestion that M3 be moored or somehow
They probably gotta go
positioned
check their house,
at
I suppose.
Hicksbridge to enable a quicker response for instance, jet skis exceeding the speed and north of Hicksbridge. We didn't discuss that. I don't know. We'll table that for next time, but
Yeah.
you know, just the quick answer to that, Milton, yeah, we definitely need to talk about that more. We did get that boat, it got all the way up to the head a couple of weekends. We certainly could have used it up there more. Again, it comes down to dollars and cents. You've got to pay the assistant harbor masters to do this. Nirvana, to me, next summer, is to have M3, Hicksbridge and North, and to have M2 in the East Branch and M1 out at the entrance. So 3 boats going 8 hours a day on the weekends, and then Rick and I doing what we need to do during the week. But that has to be a focus up there.
Okay. Picking a date for the next meeting. Tuesday, November 18th. Is the,
We're already that deep into November.
18th, you said, John?
it's a Tuesday in November. I know the 11th is Veterans Day. We want to stay away from
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And
5:30?
anybody have a problem with Tuesday, the 18th?
I think so.
Okay.
I think it should be fine.
All right.
Same time, 5:30? Okay.
Yeah, it should be.
I don't know, can Carl get a note next time?
It's just, you know, people get out of work and they, bang, the phone starts
Oh,
ringing.
you're gonna start
Noon
talking.
time at lunch and 4:30, you know, boom, 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 boom. It's like, yeah. Anyway, hey, I'm not complaining.
Less boaters around.
Yeah, it should be it should be less. But they're already talking about next year already. It's insane. Anyway, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.